Hello, this is Phil. It is 11:59, Thursday, September 14th, 2023. Let's begin. Let's go.
Oh, God. Oh. Oh.
Don't get trapped on the floor. Exercise. 20 squats. Watch out for your knees. Lord in heaven, thank you, sir. Thank you for being in my life. Please always be in my life. One, I love you and I miss you. I'll write this down in my book. I'll say my prayer, which for me is Psalm 143, but all the Psalms are great. Please find a workout that works for you. Do it every day. Please do not drink Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi. The aspartame in them is poison. Splenda and sucralose are also poison. These three very addictive chemicals, which they call sweeteners, but are actually just chemicals meant to addict you to a product. They are poisonous. If you have depression, they will greatly intensify your depression and may cause you to kill yourself. Please read the ingredients list of everything you buy. And if you see aspartame, Splenda, or sucralose in it, don't buy it. Nobody you love deserves to be poisoned. I had an immensely awful day at work, time-wise. Getting stuff done was pretty standard. In some cases it was very enjoyable because I got to return some chairs in very good shape to young women at a federal credit union who were working like crazy. These were stools, Aeron stools, which are tall seats with foot rings in them. The counters they were working at were so high, those stools were set at the top height. I literally had to use the foot ring to climb in the stool. It was amazing to watch these women, and they were not small women. They were all natural, beautiful women of sizes between about 230 to about 140 pounds. And those chairs had been through the ringer, but they held up well. The seat part of the chair fell apart from the constant rubbing of them having to get in the chair and rub their bottom in the chair to get into the chair. And they were doing that, they're probably doing that 100 times a day. So that's the number of cycles over a period of they probably had these chairs about 7 years. What I'm guessing by the amount of dust and dirt that was on the mechanism underneath the seat. But I cleaned that all up. I took this old busted seat off. I saw that mess. I vacuumed it off. I sprayed it with cleaner. I wiped it off. I wiped the foot ring off. I wiped the star that the wheels was on off. Cleaned the whole chair up. Put the new seat on it. Adjusted the mechanism. And got each chair back as I fixed them. And I also found one chair in the space, so I fixed 7 chairs, which took about 2 hours. And then I found another chair in the space where we have these bolts in an Aeron chair called pivot bolts, and they hold the seat on. And there's 2 other bars that come down that locate the front of the seat. But those pivot bolts are very important. That's what holds the seat on. And then one of the pivot bolts had actually backed out of this one chair. It was just sitting there. It was just like laying like this. The seat was braced against it. And the people had been sitting in that chair not realizing that the chair was about to fail. I looked down there and I said, wait a minute, let me look at this. This pivot bolt's completely out. And by some miracle it had just backed itself out and plopped down. I pulled the pivot, I took my hand ratchet, and this is one thing you need to know about Aeron chairs. It's best that you don't use power tools. It's best that you use hand tools like hand ratchets. I was using a hand ratchet because it allows you to put the Allen tool into the pivot bolt, and you can point it straight and then bring the seat up and then guide it straight into the hole. Start it by hand, and then you know that you're getting into the hole straight. You don't ever want to cross thread these things, because once you cross thread them and you spin that nut that's made into that plastic, you've ruined that seat. And that's very important to do it by hand. And got that pivot bolt tightened up, and she went in just beautiful. She tightened up. I got the other side. I snugged it up, and that chair was returned to service. So we got 8 chairs returned to service for those people, and that was wonderful. First start of the day was fixing a chair arm for one of the most important people at the Norfolk Airport. But to get to that, I was an hour late already because the tunnel was backed up in Norfolk. And when I got there, I had to go on an adventure of calling salespeople, and they had to call the people that were there, and nobody, I didn't know where the checkpoint was they were talking about, and I went into the first building to where I had parked at. I went into the office of the place where I had to work at, and by a miracle they knew who I was talking about. They knew about the chair, and they were in another building. They said, "Oh, well, that's," and then this wonderful lady, this little beautiful little black lady, she young girl, about 24 years old, beautiful young lady. She goes, "Oh, I know who you're talking about. I know about her chair, and so and so right next door here. He's involved in it. Let me see what he has to say about it." And she just stopped what she was doing and went next door. She leaned in the door and talked to the guy. The guy came to the door and he says, "Oh yeah, I told him to tell you to go to so and so checkpoint." And I said, "So it's in the building?" Because the girl had told me it's in the building next door, across the street. So I said, "Building next door across?" She said, "Yeah." And I said, "Thank you so much, because there's more information than I had before I started my job." And this all took about an hour extra after the hour I lost on the travel to the job. And then after that was the 7 chairs, which cleaning the chairs added another hour to the job. So that was 2 hours fixing those chairs. Probably actually more like 3 hours. But anyway, so that took an extra hour. So I mean, we're talking 1, 2, 3 extra hours. And then I left from there, and man, I had to use the restroom like crazy. But I was in a hurry because I want to get to these other 2 jobs, because I was already 3 hours late. And this next job was at a nuclear medicine facility for a medical chair that's electrically operated so that the patients can lay back and relax while they're getting their treatments through their arm, you know. And the recliner wasn't working on it right. But anyway, I started that way, and it was 18 miles away, and my GPS said that'll be 55 minutes because it goes through a tunnel, and the tunnel was backed up. I said, "Oh my God." And I get driving that way, and then it goes, "It'll be an hour and 5 minutes." And I was like, holy crap, it just added 10 minutes. I looked down at my fuel gauge, and I'm almost empty. I'm like going, oh man, because I had intended to get gas, but it's just everything can work together against me. So I put in where to get gas, and it gave me this 7-Eleven. And I said, that's great. So I put that in. And I was in the backup anyway, so I said, well, screw it, this will give me time for the backup to go away. So I drove up to the next exit, got out the exit. It pointed me right directly to a Navy, the entrance of a naval base in Norfolk. And they've got a lot of them. But anyway, the map showed me driving through the naval base, turning around and coming back down the same road. I said, well, screw this, I'll just turn around and go around the back same road. The GPS pointed me straight down this road, but the only problem was that road is closed as hell. And the GPS is going to drive straight down this road. I'm like, it's got barrels across it. It is closed. And the only thing I can do is go 64 south, east again. So I went 64 east again, and I missed the first exit because I just didn't want to go back in that naval base. I went to the second exit, which was exactly where I started. And I went off to the east into this little town in the Norfolk area. And when I came off of the ramp, there was this one little gas station to the side. But the problem was I had to go down, turn around, and come back to it. And it was like a no-name gas station, and it looked like a hole in the wall. I said, well, you know what? there's got to be another gas station right down the street in front of me. So I can just go down the street and get my gas, turn around and come back. No, there wasn't. There wasn't another gas station for 5 damn miles. It went through a college area and these houses, and there was nothing. There wasn't a 7-Eleven, there wasn't a store. It was nothing but houses and college and houses and more houses and houses and more houses. I was like, what the hell did I just drive into? And I'm trying to get back to this place. So I put in my GPS, and I just, as a fluke, I had put in the GPS gas station, and it gave me Buc-ee's, 553 miles away. I said, that's not going to work on under 1/8 of a tank of gas. Sorry. And I entered that 3 times, and 3 times gas station came up with Buc-ee's, 553 miles away. I was like, oh my God. So I finally backed out. I said, well, screw this. Let me put Exxon in. So I put Exxon in, and it came up with gas station 9/10 of a mile away, straight ahead. So I went straight ahead, went over this hill, over this bridge, come down this little town, and there's this Exxon sitting right there on the corner. Right, the road went like this. GPS is saying, go to the right and turn to the left into the gas. I went, why? The gas station's right there. I could go to the left and go directly into the gas station, which is what I did. So I went over to the far right pump, and I put the company gas card in, and it says, cannot use gas card here. Take gas card inside. I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't do that. I said, well, let me go. I'll drive somewhere else and find some gas on a 1/16 of a tank of gas. But on the way out, I looked over at there was one pump by itself, and then there was a row of 4 pumps. And I noticed on the row of 4 pumps it said, use your card here. I said, well, let me back up here and see what happens. And thankfully to the Lord, the gas card worked. And man, I still had to use the bathroom, and I was hurt. And I got the gas in the van. I said, let me go in here. This is a little hole in the wall Exxon. I know these people aren't going to want me to use their restroom, because all these places, these small places, they get tired of cleaning up nasty people who nasty up their bathrooms, you know. But I walked in there, and the guy, he was kind of mellow, kind of a country sort of chilled kind of way. I said, you got a restroom in here? He said, yeah, I got one right there. And I said, oh, fantastic. Went in there, it was clean. They had a little sign up there that said, please keep the seat up when you're done, help us keep our bathroom clean. I got in there, man, that was the most needed restroom break I'd taken in a long time. And the only thing I could say was, I wish they had double thickness toilet paper, because man, I used a bunch of toilet paper to clean up. It was one of them sticky ones, you know what I mean? But got out of there. I got 2 ginger ales, and I got a chip ice cream sandwich, which made me about half sick after I ate it, but that's okay. I got over that. And then had a full tank of gas, so I was ready for anything. And I got relieved, and I had the 2 ginger ales and the ice cream sandwich, and I went to this job, and I checked on this chair. And by the time I got there, the people had left. Apparently they leave around 3 o'clock. I got there about 4:30, and I went to the bathroom again, and on the way out, I saw this wonderful black lady, was a security guard. I talked to her. I said, excuse me, man, could you tell me where the nuclear medicine is? She says, yeah, it's right over here, but they're gone. I said, well, I got an order here to check on the chair. And she said, well, I'll let you in. I said, thank you so much. So the lady let me in, and she said, well, I'll be around. I'll be watching you, you know, just to make sure. And I said, I understand, no problem, but thank you for letting me get in there. So I went and checked this damn chair, man. This chair was, I worked on it. I couldn't get it to work. I reset it. I did all kinds of things. I unplugged all of the wires on it and everything. And found some contacts that were burning it. Tipped it on its side, took all kinds of pictures. And made my observations about what may be the problem. And I left a note for the customer. And I came out of there, and every time I do a job, at the end of the job, I send an email with pictures. And that shows the people in the chain at the time that I'm done. that that's done. So, hey, we can move on from here, you know? We can make decisions, we can move on from here. They ain't gotta wait for me to come back, and we spend 3 days with paperwork, and then the lady sends the paperwork up, and somebody, you know, in the office 100 miles away looks at paperwork, and they enter it, and then 3 days later, somebody does something. No. So anyway, I sent my email like I did for the other 2 jobs. And then I called my last delivery, which was, I didn't know it was delivery. I thought I had to put this part in. It was an arm for a chair. It's for one of our showrooms. And I called him. I said, is anybody going to be down there? And we talked about it. And the guy was, he was kind of funny because he was like me. He said, no, I'm leaving. And so-and-so's here, but she's leaving. And I don't know what you're going to do. I said, well, I mean, let me come down there. I want to come on down. He said, well, I would just drive back to the warehouse and you can mail it. I said, nah, we try to finish the paper.